Hello, this is Michael Pilarski, and I'm the Fairy Librarian at the Fairy Library. And so I want to give you a report on the status of the Fairy Library. And it's looking good, folks. It's gradually accumulating books. You can find us online. We have a website called thefairylibrary.org. That's .org. And on there we have a Library Thing catalog of all the fairy books in our library, or actually all of them up to some months ago, and so we have to put some new ones in. More on that in a minute. So we have over 220 books at the moment in our fairy library that are cataloged, and you can look up the authors and information about all these different books. And there's also other information and videos and etc. on that website. So here's just a couple of the books I've accumulated lately, and actually I have quite a bit more, but these are the handy ones. Here's Fairy Wisdom to Live By, and this is by Zing Naf Zinger, and it's actually autographed by Zing. We came across each other, or I came across her writings and got her book on her delightful encounters and work with fairies at her location. And here is a book I just got. We don't even have the sticker off yet. This is the Intercession of Spirits, working with animals, angels, and ancestors. So it doesn't actually say fairies, but this is working in the spirit realm, and this will be useful information in our work with fairies. That's by Ted Andrews, who's written a number of books on fairies. And then here's The Guardian Gateway by Kim Wilborn. Kim Wilborn came to one of our fairy congresses some years back and gave a workshop on dragons. And many of us got some dragon allies out of that. And so here she talks about working with unicorns, dragons, angels, tree spirits, and other spiritual guardians. So anyway, quite a range of the beings from the different fairy realms. And it's also a lot about how you can, improving your life too. So anyway, a useful book by Kim Wilborn. And lately, I've started collecting some of the books on the kids' books on fairies. And that's going to be a while to get to get a bigger handle on that. So here's Fairy Gardens, just a nice little children's book. Here's another one called Backyard Fairies. And so start them out when they're young, folks. And these days, when I was a kid, everybody knew about fairies, and hardly anybody believed in them, really. But at least they talked about them. And if some kids probably grow up never hearing the concept of fairies. How horrible. Here's one called How to Find Flower Fairies, and it's a pop-up book. Anyway, it's quite gaudy, and this is one of the ones that you adult supervision is required to work with this book. But anyway, so we're going to collect children's books, but mainly we collect useful books, or I wouldn't say useful, but we collect adult books. We collect books that look at the science of fairies, you might say. What is the current thought in the literature on fairies and other fairy realm beings, for instance? And our goal is to have the best English language library on fairies, and we may not be able to achieve it perhaps in real life, though it's a very substantial library and growing all the time. But eventually we're going to figure out how other people can add books to the library bibliography. Right now we'd like people to send us information on books that we don't have in our library, to review books in our library, and to assist us in this fairy work. So if any of you are really into fairies and want to help other people know more, our fairy library could use some help. The fairy library could use some help. So if anybody's interested in helping in any way, and locally people could come in. I need people to get more of all the new books and put into the system. There's so much more we can do. So we'll give you a report in another 6 months or so. But in the meantime, check out thefairylibrary.org. Thanks, and have a very good day.